Hello students, in this part we will discuss on different types of hormone. As we know that hormones are secreted by different glands and different types of hormones, and they flow through the blood as well as the other tubules membrane, but they circulate all over the body, but they show the effect only the target cell. The hormone which is released for the target cell, they show effect. So we will study about the different type of peak response hormones and slow response hormones. Mechanism of hormones. As we know that the different glands secrete the different hormones. The hormones which circulate all over the body and cells, but during this circulation these hormones not affect the each cell. The definite hormones target the definite hormone affect the target cell. The definite hormone target the or you can say affect the target cell only. There are two types of hormones. There are two types of hormones. One, the hormones which are soluble in lipids, or you can say that lipid soluble hormone. Lipid soluble hormones. The hormones which are soluble in lipids. Those are called lipid soluble hormones. For example, cortisol, testosterone, estrogen and progesterone. These are the lipid soluble hormones. And second type of hormones are lipid insoluble hormones. Lipid insoluble hormones. It means these are the hormones which are not soluble in lipid, so they are called lipid insoluble hormones. For example, thyrocalcitonin, insulin, glucagon, pituitary hormones and hypothalamic hormone. Hypothalamic hormones. So on the basis of lipid soluble or insoluble, these are two types of hormones. But on the basis of chemical nature of the hormones, there are four types of hormones. On the basis of chemical nature, the hormones are categorized in following category. Following categories. Number 1, peptide hormones. Peptide, polypeptide hormones as well as protein hormones. These are called peptide hormones, polypeptide hormones and protein hormones. For example, insulin, glucagon, thyrocalcitonin, pituitary and hypothalamic hormones. Second type of hormones are steroid hormone. Steroid hormones. Steroid hormones are cortisol, testosterone, estrogen and progesterone. Number 3 is amino acid derivatives. Amino acid derivatives. These are the hormones which contain amino acid. These are two, epinephrine and norepinephrine. Epinephrine and norepinephrine. Hormones. And fourth one is iodothyronine. Hormones. These are the thyroid hormones T4 and T3. These are thyroid hormone. Thyroid hormone. Which one? T3 and T4. So the basis of chemical nature, they are hormones categorized into 4. Which one are peptide, polypeptide or proteins. And second one is steroid hormones. Third one is amino acid derivative. And fourth one is iodothyronine hormones, which are known as thyroid hormones. The next one is mechanism of the hormones. As we know that the hormones are secreted by the glands, and these hormones are taken by the blood or blood vessels to the target organs. At the target organs, they show quick response as well as slow response. The slow response hormones which directly secreted or which directly pass to the plasma membrane, those are steroid hormones. They show slow response. Whereas the lipid insoluble hormones, they show the quick response. Firstly, we discussed on slow response hormones. Slow response hormones means the hormones after secretion, they reach to the target cell and perform functions they will be in the long time period, and this time period is known as lag period. Slow response hormones show the lag periods. It means the time period which is secreted the hormones through the glands and it show the effect to the target organ. That time period is known as lag period. The time period between the secretion of hormone and show response or effect at target cell. जो टाइम पीरियड हार्मोन सिक्रेशन से लेकर के टारगेट सेल में जाके इफेक्ट किया है, उस टाइम पीरियड जो लिया गया है, दैट इज नोन एज लैग पीरियड. एंड स्लो रिस्पॉन्स हार्मोन्स, whether the response quick or slow, there are some receptors. Some receptors are present at the cell membrane and some are in cytoplasm. The receptor which receive the hormones, if they are present in the cell membrane, outside or at the cell membrane, those are called extracellular receptors. And the receptor which are present inside the cytoplasm, those are called intracellular receptors. Before the function performed by the hormones, these hormones are accepted by some receptors. So receptors. The unit which receive the hormones are called receptors. In some cells, the receptors are present, or you can say that some receptors are present at the cell membrane. Those are called extracellular receptors. And the receptors which are present in the cytoplasm, or you can say that inside the cell membrane, in the cytoplasm, those are called intracellular receptors. Firstly, we discussed on slow response hormones. Slow response hormones such like as steroid hormones. As we know that the estrogen hormone is steroid hormone, and estrogen is secreted by the ovaries follicle. We'll take the example of estrogen. Estrogen. It shows the slow response. And how the response can be seen by the estrogen. Estrogen is secreted by ovarian follicles. Clear? And as the estrogen secretion, estrogen is lipid soluble hormone. This estrogen reaches to the ovary. So this is the outer membrane of ovary, which is known as cell membrane. This is the cell membrane. And we know that cell membrane is made up of lipid and protein. lipid and protein. Suppose this estrogen is secreted by the ovarian follicles, which is present outside the membrane. Estrogen, as we know that estrogen is lipid soluble, so estrogen directly passed through the cell membrane, because cell membrane is made up of lipid. So estrogen is passed directly through the cell membrane, and it reaches to the cytoplasm. This reaches to the cytoplasm. Inside, this is the cytoplasm. So we can see that receptor is present inside the cytoplasm. Here receptor is present. The receptor is intracellular receptor. Here receptor is present. This is the receptor. And the receptor which receives the estrogen, that is called astrophilic. Astrophilic receptor. As this receptor trapped with estrogen, it forms a complex. This is the receptor, and this one is estrogen. Estrogen and receptor is held together with each other. This is called astrophilin complex receptor. Astrophilin complex. This astrophilin complex, it means estrogen with the receptor, reach to the nucleus membrane. This is the nucleus membrane. This is the double layer membrane. This one is nucleus. This astrophilin complex reach to the nucleus. This is the estrogen. This one is receptor. Astrophilin complex reach to the nucleus, and nucleus contain DNA. It contains DNA. This attached with the DNA and attached with the DNA. Here, as the DNA receive astrophilin complex, it means receptor with estrogen, then DNA convert into the mRNA. mRNA, messenger RNA. The process in which DNA convert into RNA, this process is called transcription. The process in which DNA converts into RNA, that is known as transcription. Then this mRNA comes out through the nucleus into the cytoplasm. This mRNA comes out through the nucleus membrane in cytoplasm. Here mRNA change into protein. mRNA change into protein. The process in which mRNA converts into protein, that is called translation. The two processes may be occurred. One is transcription. DNA converts into mRNA, that is called transcription. mRNA, as the mRNA forms, this mRNA comes out through the nucleus membrane into the cytoplasm. mRNA then converts into protein, and this process known as translation. This protein act as ovarian follicles, so it ruptures and ovulation process can take place. Act as ovarian follicle or Graafian follicle. So it takes a time. As the estrogen released through the ovarian follicle reach to the cell membrane, into the nucleus, then mRNA to protein, and then protein act on the ovary. So it takes a time. That time period after secretion of estrogen, after secretion of hormone, and it affects the target cell, that is known as lag period. So it takes a long time. It shows the slow response hormones. In next part we will discuss on quick response hormones.